Hey guys, this is Sean Holscher with YouMeAndMovies.com, and tomorrow marks the beginning of the 6th annual March Madness Heroes vs. Villains voting bracket. And that is something that I have on my website every year. It was inspired by something that a website called HitFix did for many years, and I was so inspired, and I thought the idea was so cool that I actually stole the idea and started it on my own personal blog. But since HitFix is sadly not a website anymore, the March Madness Heroes vs. Villains bracket is home only at my website. So basically, what I do is I pick a bunch of movie heroes, TV heroes, movie villains, and TV villains, and I list them 1 through 16 by seed, and I set it up like a March Madness bracket, but instead of basketball teams playing against each other, it's characters going head to head, and you, the audience, gets to vote for who you think gets to move on in each of the matchups. And over the last 5 years that I've been doing this, we've had characters like, for movies, we've had Indiana Jones and John McCain and John Rambo, and every superhero under the sun that you can think of, and Ellen Ripley and Sarah Connor and Marty McFly. And then for TV heroes, we've had Jack Bauer and we've even looked at old school TV shows and had characters like Jim Phelps from Mission Impossible show up, and B.A. Baracus from A-Team. So I try to mix it up as best I can. And for TV villains, we've had Walter White and Bob from Twin Peaks show up. And for movie villains, we've had Darth Vader. Every horror movie icon that you can think of has competed at some point as well. So we mix it up, and I look through the decades and I look through the years, and I try to see who you guys will think is interesting, or characters that you think would be cool to see. And then you guys get to vote for who's the best until we narrow it down until there's one hero and one villain left. And then you guys vote for that. And it's usually fun, and especially last year, I had the most participation that I've had ever. So thank you for that, and I hope that you guys will participate again this year, especially since coronavirus is shutting down everything. So just real quick, I wanted to go over all the characters that are showing up for the bracket this year. I'm going to go through them a little bit fast, but just to give you an idea of where they came from and who they are and everything, and to give you a little bit of a background before voting starts tomorrow. So I will do that right now. So if you can imagine a bracket in your head, on the if you're looking to the left, the top left-hand side of the bracket are the movie heroes, and then the bottom left-hand bracket is the TV heroes. So the first seed for the movie heroes is Batman. The name says it all. You know who the character is. He's shown up in several movies over the years. He's been played by several actors at this point. He's probably the most popular hero in all of popular culture. And out of the 5 competitions that I've done over the history of my blog, he's won 4 of them. So that's why he is number 1 seed. Number 2 seed for movie heroes is Detective Mike Lowry from the Bad Boys trilogy, played by Will Smith. He is your typical run-of-the-mill, no-nonsense, I do what I walk to the sound of my own drum police detective. He's really funny, and he kicks a lot of ass. So he's at the number 2 seed. Number 3 seed is John Wick from the John Wick trilogy, played by Keanu Reeves, a hitman who decided that he didn't want to do hits anymore. So his boss sends him on a suicide mission, and he survives the suicide mission. So this was one of those rare instances where a mafia guy lets one of his hitmen retire. John Wick gets married, falls in love. Sadly, his wife dies of cancer, and in her final moments, she gives him a dog, and bad guys break into his house just as he's starting to fall in love with the dog, and they kill his dog. So he goes on a rampage against the bad guys and the mafia for doing this to him. And he's been doing that for 3 movies. So John Wick is number 3. Number 4 seed is Elastigirl from the Incredibles movies over at Disney. She's got the power to stretch herself, and she is a superhero. She fights for good. The number 5 seed is Adonis Creed from the 2 Creed movies. He's Apollo Creed's son, and he is a very, very good boxer, played by Michael B. Jordan. The number 6 seed is Miles Morales from Spider-Man Enter the Spider-Verse. He gets bitten by a radioactive spider like Peter Parker, and he eventually becomes a web-slinging superhero himself. If you haven't seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse yet, it is streaming on Netflix. Check it out. It is a fantastic movie. It deserved all the awards that it won last year, so check it out. The number 7 seed is Poe Dameron, played by Oscar Isaac from the Star Wars sequel trilogy. He's the pilot, and he becomes best friends with Finn, and he is with the Resistance. Number 8 is Shazam from the Shazam movie that came out last year, played by Zachary Levi. He's it's about a teenager who gets superpowers from a wizard, and every time he says Shazam, he grows into adult, and he has super strength, he can fly, he's invulnerable. Zachary Levi from Chuck, the TV show Chuck, plays him, and he was very funny. Number 9 is Captain Marvel, played by Brie Larson from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She had her solo movie come out last year, and she also appeared in Avengers Endgame, along with the heroes. The number 10 seed is Rick Dalton, played by Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie Once Upon a Time in America. Not Once Upon a Time in America, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't know why I was thinking Once Upon a Time in America. The bracket this year is very Quentin Tarantino themed, so be ready for that. The 11th seed is the character Alita from her self-titled film Alita Battle Angel. Number 12 is Lieutenant Pete Maverick Mitchell, played by Tom Cruise from Top Gun. The next one is coming out this summer, so I thought as a way to celebrate, we'll throw Maverick on the lineup this year. Number 13 is Beatrice Kiddo / the Bride, played by Uma Thurman. Similar situation to John Wick. She was a hitman who wanted to get out of the life. Her employers didn't want her to, so they killed her. Or at least they thought that they did. And she went and got her revenge. So that is The Bride from Kill Bill. In the 13th seed. The 14th seed is Newt Scamander from the spin-off series from the Harry Potter movies, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Him, played by Eddie Redmayne. He is a wizard who takes care of magical animals. And 15th seed is Xander Cage, played by Vin Diesel. He is a super spy, pretty unlike others. He's kind of a taboo spy. Not like James Bond or Ethan Hunt, or not even really like Jack Bauer. He's got a very unique style to him from the Triple X franchise. And then the 16th and final seed is Uncle Buck, John Candy's Uncle Buck. I always got to throw in a funny, sincere person. It's not all super spies and superheroes and super killers. All right, so, if you're thinking of the bracket in your head, bottom left bracket is the TV heroes. First seed is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Again, that's a character. The name says it all. She's a vampire slayer, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar. Her TV show was very popular throughout the 2000s. And the second seed is The Mandalorian from the self-titled Disney Plus show The Mandalorian. He is a bounty hunter with a heart. And if you've seen Baby Yoda at this point, he goes around protecting Baby Yoda from ex-imperialists. So he is a good guy. Number 3 in the 3 seed is Bugs Bunny. Again, another name that kind of says it all. He's the number 3 seed this year. In the 4th seed for TV heroes is Alfonso Mack Mackenzie from ABC's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He started out as kind of a member of Coulson's crew, and now he is the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he still has his axe shotgun. Number in the 5th seed is Sister Night from HBO's Watchmen sequel. Now, this might sound bad, but I actually haven't had the chance to see HBO's Watchmen yet. I know it was super popular. I know a lot of people liked it. That's why I had to throw Sister Night on the bracket this year, but I unfortunately haven't seen it yet. I'm hoping to watch it soon, but I know how popular it was, so I had to represent a little bit. Number 6 seed is The Punisher from his self-titled series, The Punisher, on Netflix. He exists in a world of superheroes, but he is a vigilante who just puts bullets in bad guys all the time. And the 7th seed is Detective Rosa Sanchez from NBC's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Hilarious show about cops. It's a great show. Number in the 8th seed is Leroy Jethro Gibbs from CBS's NCIS. Very, very long-running military detective show. Number 9 is Carl Winslow from ABC CBS's Family Matters. Family man and police officer, a great combination there. Number 10 is, and the number 10 seed is Captain Planet from his show Captain Planet and the Planeteers. I am a 90s, I grew up in the 90s, I'm a 90s kid, so there are a couple of references to my childhood every once in a while. Number 11, in the 11th seed is John Diggle, right-hand man to the superhero Green Arrow, and might be a future Green Lantern in the future of the Flareoverse. Number 12 is Brienne of Tarth from HBO's Game of Thrones. One of the only, there's characters that have shades of gray on that show, and she's, in my opinion, one of the only pure good characters on that entire show, so I had to throw her on the heroes bracket now. Brienne of Tarth, number 13. I'm sorry, number 12. Number 13, however, is Morgan Jones from AMC's The Walking Dead. He is like a ninja with his ninja stick, taking out bad guys and zombies and stuff, and really like Morgan Jones a lot. Number 14 is Uncle Phil from NBC's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Number 15, 15th seed is Batwoman from her recent show on the CW, her own self-titled Batwoman. I know it hasn't been popular, but I'm actually kind of digging it. I think I'm just a sucker for anything Bat-related, but I don't think her show's been that bad. I've been watching it. And then the 16th seed, final seed for TV heroes, is The Tick. I really liked the show on Amazon. I'm going to miss it. I wish we could have gotten more seasons than just 2. And again, I'm a 90s kid. I've always liked The Tick, so, sue me. Alright, moving on to the right-hand side of the ballot. Top right-hand side of the bracket are the movie villains. And number 1, and the number 1 seed is Lord Voldemort, Harry Potter's arch-nemesis, played by Ralph Fiennes. Throughout the Harry Potter series. Number 2, Arthur Fleck. Number 2 seed goes to Arthur Fleck, aka Joker, from Joaquin Phoenix's Joker movie. Yes, I know I wasn't that crazy about it, but it's been very popular and Joaquin Phoenix won a bunch of awards, so I just thought, what the hell, I'll throw him on the bracket this year. Number 3, we're looking at a classic guy, Hans Gruber from Die Hard, played by Alan Rickman. Great villain, great obscure Christmas movie. I was looking through villains that I haven't used yet, and I was shocked that I hadn't thrown Hans Gruber on this bracket yet. So this year I thought that had to change. Number 4, and speaking of Hanses, Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards is in the 4th seed, aka the Jew Hunter, played by Christoph Waltz. Number 5, 5th seed, is Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men, played by Javier Bardem, a ruthless and very, very creepy hitman after the money that Josh Brolin's character stole. Number 6, in the 6th seed, is Cruella de Vil from Disney's 101 Dalmatians. Any animal hater deserves to be on the villains bracket for sure. Number 7, Alonzo Harris, played by Denzel Washington in the 2001 gritty crime thriller Training Day. He is probably the most evil, corrupt cop in the history of movies that I can think of, so I had to throw him on here. I hadn't used him yet. Number 8 is Mysterio. Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, who showed up in the latest Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Far From Home, and battled Tom Holland's Spider-Man, part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Number 9, Emperor Palpatine. I actually started putting this together kind of around maybe October, November of 2019, and I honestly had no idea that Emperor Palpatine was going to show up in Rise of Skywalker, so that kind of blew my mind. But even though I wasn't crazy about Rise of Skywalker, Emperor Palpatine definitely deserves to be on the bracket. He is a great, rich villain. Number 10. Again, this shows my age and my generation, but Frank Costello from The Departed, played by Jack Nicholson, Irish gangster from that movie. I had to throw him on sooner or later. In the 11th seed is Howard Ratner. Now, Howard Ratner is the character Adam Sandler plays in Uncut Gems, and that was another movie that was pretty popular at the end of 2019. A lot of people were blown away that Adam Sandler got nominated for nothing across this entire awards circuit, including me. Like, that was, by leaps and bounds, his best performance to date, and I couldn't believe that he didn't get any awards. Now, Howard Ratner is an interesting character because he's not a supervillain and he's not an evil wizard or a dark lord, and he's not even a ruthless criminal. He's a guy that is constantly getting himself in trouble. He's been cheating on his wife, and even though he has a family, he's constantly gambling throughout the movie, and he's constantly getting himself in trouble with loan sharks and other criminals and whatnot. So he's kind of a unique villain, but given what he does in Uncut Gems, I couldn't honestly put him on the hero bracket. I mean, yeah, he's the hero of the story. He's, the protagonist, but as a person, not a hero. Not a hero at all. So I wanted to include him somehow, so technically he's not a good person, so he's on the villains bracket. Number 12, Dr. Sivana, played by Mark Strong. He was the villain in the Shazam movie that we talked about when we were talking about the movie bracket. So Shazam is number 8 in the heroes bracket, and Dr. Sivana, who he battles in the movie, is number 12. He's an evil wizard. 13th seed is O-Ren Ishii, part of the hitman group that helped kill the bride, who was number 13 in the movie heroes bracket. She's from Kill Bill. Not only is she a hitman, but she's the leader of the Japanese Yakuza, and she leads a group of very dangerous killers called the Crazy 88, played by Lucy Liu. Yeah, again, like I told you, it's very Tarantino-based this year. Speaking of Quentin Tarantino, 14th seed for movie villains is Calvin Candie, the ruthless slave owner from Django Unchained, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. Number in the 15th seed, Xena Onatop, played by Famke Janssen. I probably butchered her name. I'm really sorry. I have to throw a James Bond villain on here every year, at least one. I always have to throw one on here. And, I grew up with GoldenEye, again, showing my age. So, since GoldenEye was one of the most popular video games I played growing up, I decided, this is going to be the year I throw Xena Onatop on the movie bracket for the villains. And then last seed, 16, Gabby from Toy Story 4. An evil doll. Yeah. All right, so bottom right-hand bracket is the TV villains. The first seed is Tony Soprano. Yeah, you know the name. Tony Soprano from HBO's The Sopranos. Number 2 is Saul Goodman from AMC's Better Call Saul, the corrupt lawyer that you saw in Breaking Bad, and then he got his own spin-off that's been lasting a really long time. I actually haven't watched Better Call Saul yet. I gotta change that very, very soon because I love Bob Odenkirk, who plays Saul Goodman. Again, not on the same level as Howard Ratner, but Saul Goodman just isn't necessarily a good person, so he's not somebody I would have considered for the hero bracket. He's a little too corrupted to be on the hero bracket, I'm afraid, so he's number 2 for villains. Number 3 is Euron Greyjoy from Game of Thrones, the evil uncle from House Greyjoy. Really crazy bad guy. Number 4, Harley Quinn. I've written about this before on my blog, but if you guys have not watched the Harley Quinn cartoon on the DC Universe app, you need to get on that. This is a different Harley Quinn from the movies. The Harley Quinn from the movies has kind of become an anti-hero at this point. And the Harley Quinn in the cartoon, she is trying very hard to be the top criminal in Gotham City. And she's trying to get the Legion of Doom to notice her, and she is trying to shake off the Joker, but she's gathering her own team of villains, and she's going on her own, missions per se, and she's trying to become the top supervillain in the city. So she's definitely a villain here. Number 5 is the Homelander. I hope you guys have been watching The Boys on Amazon Prime. It's an amazing show. So crazy. The Homelander is kind of an analog for Superman, and all of the superheroes on this show are analogs from members of the Justice League. The only thing is that they're corrupt heroes. They have no regard for collateral damage, and there is a company that kind of covers up all of their misgivings and, kind of bad stuff that they do in order to keep the world safe. So they're kind of corrupt. It's a show about corrupt superheroes. And the Homelander, like I said, is the analog for Superman. He's the leader of this superhero group, and he's the most corrupt of all of them. He literally just lets a plane full of people die. All right, he's, not good. Not good at all. Number 6 is Barry Dillon from FX's Archer. Archer's rival and antagonist. He's tried to kill Archer many times over the course of the show. Rival, secret agent, hilarious and evil all at the same time. Another unique villain is in the 7th seed here, Dennis Reynolds from FX's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Now, before now, I've never really thought of Always Sunny as a show I would consider. But again, Dennis Reynolds is another one of those kind of unique bad guys. And, if we're thinking about Always Sunny, it's kind of a show about despicable people. There was a TV reviewer that called that Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the anti-friends, and I totally get that. And I feel like Dennis Reynolds is one of the most despicable of all of them. I mean, there's an episode where he is literally talking about a system that he uses to get women to sleep with him. So he's a despicable scumbag. The show's hilarious. I love it. But it's a show about despicable people. So I had to throw Dennis Reynolds on the villain bracket. Number 8 is Moff Gideon from Disney Plus's The Mandalorian. He challenges the Mandalorian throughout the series, and he's kind of the leader of this kind of renegade group of ex-stormtroopers and ex-galactic imperialists. And like I said, he challenges the Mandalorian, and he's got a dark lightsaber. All right. Number 9 is the Anti-Monitor. The Anti-Monitor showed up in the recent Flareverse crossover. So all the DC superhero shows that are on the CW, they all take place in the same continuity, and they did their own kind of adaptation of the popular DC storyline Crisis on Infinite Earths. And the Anti-Monitor is this huge being that is destroying all the Earths within the multiverse. And so the heroes have to get together and stop him. So he's this very, very, very powerful supervillain, and he's able to tap into other Earths throughout the entire multiverse and destroy them. So, very bad guy. And the 10th seed is Benjamin Poindexter, aka Bullseye from Netflix's Daredevil. Corrupt FBI agent on the show. Slowly gets corrupted by the mob boss Kingpin, and he's got very, very precise throwing powers. So he's a very dangerous guy. And the 11th seed is Vic Mackey from the 2000s FX show The Shield. Much like Alonzo Harris, he is a dirty, awful, despicable, corrupt cop. Interesting show there, but Vic Mackey is number 11. And the 12th seed is Alpha from AMC's The Walking Dead, the recent challenger of the good humans on that show. I've actually fallen off of The Walking Dead, so I don't know too much about Alpha, but I'm kind of familiar with her from the comic series. So she's kind of the current villain that the good guys are fighting on that show right now. Number 13 is Alice, who has been the main villain on CW's Batwoman. She's been challenging Batwoman. And the 14th seed, speaking of Batman characters, is Egghead from ABC's 60s Batman serial with Adam West. Egghead was a character that was created for the old 60s show. He wasn't in the comic books or anything like that. He was played by Vincent Price, who was known for playing. He was in a bunch of the horror movies throughout the 50s and the early 60s, and then he played this character Egghead. Basically, he was a criminal who used eggs in his criminal schemes. And he always had an egg pun, and he had trick eggs and bomb eggs, and he was a goofy character for sure, yeah. Probably the most obscure character on the entire lineup this year, but I do have a fondness for the Adam West show, so that's why I threw him on here this year. Number 15 in the 15th seed is the Ice King from Adventure Time, which is a cartoon on Cartoon Network about a human boy and a dog who kind of go on adventures in this post-apocalyptic fantasy world called Ooo. And one of the kingdoms is the Ice Kingdom, and it's ruled by the evil Ice King, who always stands in opposition to the human and the dog on that show. I've been binge watching it on Hulu recently, and I actually kind of like it, so I decided to throw the Ice King on the bracket this year. And then the final seed for the TV villains is the Soup Nazi from Seinfeld. No soup for you. So that is the entire lineup this year for the 6th annual March Madness Heroes vs. Villains voting bracket. Voting starts tomorrow. I'm going to get on Google Docs and try to create a poll so that you guys can vote directly on the website. So you can do that. I also set up polls on my social media, so if you follow me on Facebook, you'll be able to vote that way. You can email me your votes. You can comment on the comment section. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can vote. So voting starts tomorrow. I'm gonna get the showdowns for the brackets set up right now, and I hope you guys participate starting tomorrow. It's gonna be fun.